Hello, if you are interested in having orchids in bloom all year round, then this video is for you. We are going to focus on orchids that bloom within different seasons. It's important to keep in mind that these are approximations and that there can be a lot of crossover between seasons, and that this is just a sliver of all of the many tens of thousands of orchids out there. Between species and hybrids, there's just a lot of orchids. So this is just a tiny slice, and it is an approximation. So let's get started so that you can have orchids growing and blooming all year round. We'll start out with winter blooming orchids, and the first is called the Cymbidium orchid, and these need a nice cool down around 55 degrees so that they can set and grow and bloom. If you can get a nice cool down around 55 degrees, then these orchids are for you. They also need a lot of light and a lot of water while they are blooming. Another one is the more miniature Cymbidiums, and they don't need the cool temperatures that the standards need, and they're just a little bit easier to grow. Another one is the Paphiopedilum, or the bullfrog, bulldog variety, and these Paphiopedilum or slipper orchids are notable because they have not just kind of that blunt lower lip, but also because they have solid green leaves. Another winter blooming orchid is the Zygopedilum, and these also have a nice sweet fragrance. So if you want something that has a delightful smell, then go for the Zygopedilum. All right, let's look at the Dendrobium nobile hybrids. A lot of times you'll find these ones in the grocery store, and what they need is kind of a period of time where they get a little cooler and also where they don't get as much water, and that will help them to bloom. And these are spectacular orchids. This is my orchid right here. All right, let's look at orchids that bloom in the spring. Let's start out with the Cattleya aurantica, and they just have a beautiful golden, orange, yellow color that's just so striking. It looks like springtime, right? And we have the Dendrobium kingianum. These are native to Australia, and they bloom in winter to spring, and they are just gorgeous. I love the shape of their petals and their lip. All right, let's look at orchids that bloom in the summertime. The Oncidium orchid, particularly the dancing lady, these also have a fragrance. And these are Paphiopedilum madiae hybrids. They bloom from summer to fall, and they are distinct from the bullfrog, bulldog variety because they have more dappled leaves. So that is kind of the giveaway for the madiae hybrids. And there's also this other variety right here, and you'll notice that they have these ruffled petals right here. So these hybrid orchids, they tend to bloom in the summertime. So check these Paphiopedilums out if you would. These are kind of a love 'em or hate 'em, the slipper orchids, so I think they're really cool. So if you would like one that blooms in the summertime, check out these slipper orchids. All right, here is the Brassia orchid. They put out multiple branches of also fragrant orchids, and these are really fun. They're nicknamed the spider orchid, and they have a nice fragrance, and they put out lots of flowers, and I personally find them pretty easy to grow. That's the Brassia orchid. Okay, let's look at some fall or autumn blooming orchids. We'll start out with the Dendrobium phalaenopsis hybrids. These are not related to the traditional phalaenopsis orchid that we're accustomed to, but they do kind of look a little bit like a phalaenopsis orchid, even if they're not related. They're fairly easy to grow, and they need a lot of light and they will bloom for you in the summertime. Another variety is the Masdevallia. These are bright golden orange color. You'll also find them in red. They are very beautiful orchids that will bloom for you in the summertime. Another one is Cattleya Chocolate Drop. I just love how succulent and fleshy the petals and sepals are, and it just has this nice rich orangey deep red color. So the Cattleya Chocolate Drop is another one to think about if you want an orchid that isn't really set or attached to any particular season. Then you might want to think about a Vanda orchid, especially if you live in South Florida or somewhere that's really accommodating to growing orchids. So the beautiful Vanda orchid, if you live in a nice temperate climate, you can grow it underneath a tree in the backyard. So another one is Phalaenopsis orchids, but if you do have a species Phalaenopsis or the novelty varieties, they are more winter blooming, so keep that in mind. But the hybridized Phalaenopsis, they can bloom pretty much anytime. Another one is the Angraecum. These are a really fun, beautiful orchid to grow, and you can see that this one is mounted. And that's it for today. So thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, like it, comment, subscribe, share it, and we'll talk to you later.